Welcome to Turnpike Sports. I'm Dave Weishuttle, and as always, I'm joined by my producer and co-host, Doug Weishuttle. Doug, I don't think I've spent a more enjoyable weekend watching football. Those games were absolutely incredible.
Let me tell you something, how exciting those games were. I lost everything, every single bet. Well, no, I won one parlay, involving the games, but I lost every single bet this weekend. But I still enjoyed watching the games.
Let me tell you something. I won a couple of parlays. I would have won a lot more parlays if the Buffalo Bills won that game. But wow, what a game! What an enjoyable weekend of watching football.
Can I tell you something about that game? The last game of the weekend, best game of the weekend, as a matter of fact.
Absolutely.
I don't want to hear any more people complain about the overtime rules. I like sudden death. I like the one-time score. If your defense is that good, you should be able to stop them. You should have been able to stop them before you even get to the overtime period. I don't want to hear people I don't like the college overtime rules. They suck.
Well, first of all, it's not technically sudden death because if the Chiefs kicked the field goal, the Buffalo Bills would have had a chance to have their offense on the field. So, and by the way, I would have loved to see Josh Allen get that ball in overtime. It would have been amazing.
So would I.
But seriously,
don't let him come down the field.
First off, if you have 13 seconds and your defense can't stop the offense of another team, then guess what? You don't deserve to win.
No,
you just don't deserve to win.
It should never have gotten to overtime.
And I can't believe they didn't pooch that kickoff down the field, take off a little more time. And an interesting thing people were saying that the Buffalo Bills, during the first snap of that last drive in regulation by the Kansas City Chiefs, they should have held everyone. Guess what? You would have been called, but you would have taken time off the clock, and it would have only been a 5-yard penalty, which is very ingenious by some sports commentators. I would have never thought of that in the moment.
Very, very interesting idea, but again, it should never have gotten to overtime. It should have been one of those things where that last drive by Kansas City should never have happened. They changed their defense to that prevent defense. Everyone knows the cliche for that, but you know what? Don't change your defense. It was working, and regardless, even if you didn't squib at 25-yard line, you still got to stop them.
Yep.
And that defense did not do anything. Maybe they were gassed.
And by the way, I don't want to let this go without saying, now, I'm not the biggest Tom Brady fan in the world because I'm not a big Patriots fan and not a big Tampa Bay fan, but quite impressive how he brought the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, he didn't get the job done, but it was a very, very impressive comeback.
Well, that near comeback affected how I picked the game
right.
for the conference championship. But then again, you know what? Again, great games.
Well, we got a big show coming up. We got a Beatin The House segment. We have our NFL picks coming, and we also have a book report. But right after the rundown, I'm going to be talking with Casey Clark, Senior Vice President of Strategic Communications of the American Gaming Association. He's going to tell us how 2021 was for the gambling industry in this country and what we can expect in 2022. It's been a busy week in sports, so let's take a trip down the Turnpike. Today's trip down the Turnpike is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
Exit 1.
We're going to start off this week with another sports betting survey.
Boy, this industry loves their surveys, huh?
This one is focused strictly on bonuses.
There's a bunch of surveys every week.
But
if you love surveys, get involved in the gaming industry.
Well, like I said, this is strictly on the sign-up bonuses.
Okay.
Which I thought was kind of unique in the marketplace because you don't see too many surveys hitting the bonus aspect of sports betting, especially the online sports betting and also the online casinos.
Well, it's an incredible, important factor in sports betting because everyone looks for the bonuses, everyone looks for the promos. That was one of the big issues when New York started. Will the New York sports betting operators be allowed or be able to offer the same bonuses and the promos because of the incredibly high tax rate in New York is 51%. So, bonuses and promos are pretty important when it comes to getting customers and retaining customers. So,
well, going back to your point about New York, I think the 5 sports books that have launched already have demonstrated that they're going to do bonuses.
Sure.
Sign-up bonuses, promos, whatever you want to call them. But anyway, this survey here strictly looked at the sign-on bonuses for both online sports betting and online casinos. It was a sample size of 500 adults of sports betting age, obviously. And 20% of digital players said they frequently visited casinos, and another 27% said the availability of online gaming makes them less likely to visit a casino.
That's interesting.
I don't know if that's interesting or that's what we've been seeing since the sports betting industry launched, especially the online industry has launched.
The one thing about online casinos and online poker and things like that, what a lot of people don't understand is, the players' clubs are still involved. The comp system is still involved. So you can play online and still get comped when you go to the brick-and-mortar casino. So, those things work hand in hand.
Well, again, the members' rewards cards or whatever, the loyalty cards that are attached to these accounts now, when they first started, they weren't part of it. They had to find a way to integrate it into the systems.
Well, look, now it is part of it. And then these are, when we're talking about online poker anyway, everyone thinks that these are the same before the Black Friday things. But no, these sites have to be licensed through a brick-and-mortar casino in the state. So these are the casinos. These are the loyalty clubs. These work with the comps and things like that. So, that's one thing you have to keep in mind when you're playing online casinos. It makes your live gaming a little cheaper.
Well, moving along with the survey, let's hit a couple of more interesting numbers. 20% said bonuses were the reason for choosing an app.
Okay.
Versus 48% who chose an app due to a recognizable brand. So brand seems to figure into this a little bit more than the bonuses. The bonuses are a huge factor in all this, but the brand still seems to make the difference in a lot of instances for people. Also, 38% said that less competitive bonuses would make them change their brand.
Really? 38%, huh?
That's kind of a high number.
Yeah, no, I'm surprised at that.
I've never been turned off by a less competitive bonus. If I'm enjoying my time on the sports betting app or the casino app and I'm winning or even just plain old enjoying myself, I don't change. I may play some of these less frequently.
I know for some people it's an important thing, the bonuses and the promos and things like that. But, the people I know, bonuses are kind of lower down on, when they choose to jump on a sports book,
51% of online sports betting players and 52% of iGaming players said large bonuses would be the key for which brand to switch over to if they were changing brands.
Again, it depends on the bonuses. If the bonuses are that great, yeah, certainly.
34% of the total respondents said they were happy with their primary app.
Okay.
43% of FanDuel's primary users said they wouldn't switch. 30% for DraftKings.
Okay.
So FanDuel seems to have a better stickiness for their customers. I guess you can call
more
it that.
More customer loyalty?
I guess you can call it that. I don't know if there's loyalty involved in any of this. It's just a matter of what their preferences are. It looks like FanDuel maintains customer acquisition or retains customers better than a lot of the other apps out there.
I got to tell you, if you ever looked at my cell phone, you would think I'm a degenerate. I got like a bunch of sports betting apps on there. I have 3 poker apps. I think I have casino apps. So, it's one of those things. So certainly, bonuses are important, but you know what? Once you're joined these things, you always want to look at the numbers or how, especially with sports books, how much a game is juiced to one side or another. That's another important thing you have to look at. Bonuses are important, but I think once you join these apps, I think once you get into it, I think you have to be a shopper when it comes to the individual games and how they're juiced on these things.
Well, no survey in terms of betting brands or bonuses would be complete without having a Barstool section of the survey. And the survey found that 51% of the respondents who were familiar with Dave Portnoy at Barstool, 65% of those people either strongly or mildly liked him, while 10% said they disliked him. a majority, 53% of all respondents said their opinion of him would not affect whether they would use the Barstool app. Mm-hmm. So really, I mean, I don't know if he's affecting anything. I think he influences some way.
Well, you know, when you're in the media or when you're in the public eye, you know, love, hate, who cares? As long as they're talking about you, thinking about your product. You know, if people were apathetic to him or didn't care about him, that's when you have to worry about the marketing. But you know what? Love him, hate him, that means it's good marketing.
Exit 2.
We had a little history done in the esports industry recently.
Oh, I missed the history part of the esports thing.
We have the first esports sim racer moving from the simulated side to the real sports side.
So he started off as an esports player, and all of a sudden now he's in the what do I call it? The physical world, or
he's in the non-virtual racing world.
Well, let me ask you something. You know, these simulations that they use for esports, don't they use the simulations to practice? You know, the physical players or the actual drivers who actually drive cars. Don't they use these simulations to train?
Well,
and if this guy's good on the simulations, it means that he'll be good on the actual race course.
Well, they use them for simulations. They use them for tournaments. They use them to test new designs as well.
Okay.
So test drivers love the simulated or virtual racing, I should say. I'm going to mispronounce this guy's name because I found no place to hear where this guy's name was pronounced. Kem Balukabasi.
Balukabasi.
A 23-year-old Turkish racer. He started his career in racing in the F1's eSports series.
Well, first off, his first name is spelled C-E-M.
Maybe it's
Sem.
Sem?
Sem?
Maybe.
Seem? But then his last name is Bolubasi. Bolubasi?
There's a K in there.
Bolubaski. Bolukbasi.
Something like that.
I don't know.
We could spend the entire show doing that.
Bolubasi.
But anyway, he just signed on for a full season in the F2 series. He's an F1 sim racer who got signed on for F2, which is I believe it's considered, I don't want to denigrate it a little bit, but it's the developmental league for F1.
Okay.
And he spent a couple years doing the eSim racing for the F1 series. He actually was a professional racer before he became a professional sim racer, but he was a professional motocross racer.
Okay.
So he's familiar with professional racing, not non-virtual car racing.
You know, I'm surprised that it took so long for an esports player to become a pro in the. See, I keep calling it physical world. I don't even know what a virtual player into the actual physical world, because you know what, the simulations are a great indication of how you would actually do on an actual race course. So,
well, there have been instances of people going from esports to real sports, but nothing in the realm of the F1 area.
All right.
So this is where the history comes in. He's the first one to go from the F1 virtual to F1 real. Okay. I guess you can call it that way.
Okay.
He's leaving the Matrix and going into the real world.
Oh, okay. What was that? He took the blue pill?
He took the blue pill.
Okay.
And now he's also the first Turkish Formula 2 driver in history.
All right.
There's never been a Formula 2 driver from Turkey, of Turkish descent, I should say. But he's been. I
wonder
racing.
if he's like a national hero back there.
He probably is, especially the younger people.
Sure.
He's 23 years old. He took part in the 2017 and 2018 seasons of the official F1 eSports series, which led to 2 seasons of racing in GT4, which is another style of racing. It's off-road kind of thing. And then he switched to open wheel racing last year. These are non-F2, non-F1 type racing events. So he's familiar with racing in the real world.
Yeah, the real world. Okay,
yeah.
good. Congratulations.
We have to set it up.
Yeah,
like
well,
that,
congratulations to him. Good for him.
He will be signing on with the Czech outfit in the F2 series. So we'll have to keep an eye on see exactly where he ends up with that. He's joining the likes of Enzo Fittipaldi.
Okay, well, I'm going to try his name again.
Fittipaldi's kid is part of all this,
okay.
too. So.
His name is Sem Bolukbasi.
There you go.
Sem Bolukbasi.
But there's history
Congratulations.
there. Congratulations, Sem. And good luck with the real-world racing.
Real-world racing.
I don't know how else to say it. That's the problem. These sports versus virtual sports.
Yep.
Exit 3.
If you remember last year, we saw the launch of fan-controlled football.
Yes.
They had actually a very successful first year. They had 4 teams, and it was where the viewers were able to participate in not only the play calling, but the drafting of the teams, and also even some cases the actual color scheme of the team uniforms, as well as even detailing some of the other aspects of the game.
Okay.
That was their entire idea of fan-controlled football, where fans actually do control the game itself more so than the players on the field. The players still have to execute.
How do they control it? I'm just do they have like a joystick? Do they have a keyboard or any? Do they phone it in? Do they text it in? Or how does this work?
It's done online.
Okay. So it's a computer. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And you actually have to register and make sure you're part of whatever team you want to be part of to participate in the draft.
No, but it sounds like fun.
It's
like
very
fun.
different. I actually watched some of it on TV. They actually had it televised on one of the it was either FS1 or ESPN3 or whatever it was. I saw some televised games of this, and it was very interesting to watch. It's a smaller field. And it's a very fast-moving game. It all takes place in one location for an entire season.
I was worried about it wouldn't be fast-moving because don't you have to have everyone's opinion in before everyone play? Or it's such a time thing that...
You have a certain amount of time to vote on the play.
So it moves pretty quick.
It moves very quick.
Oh, okay. All right,
honestly,
good.
If I didn't
was
know,
worried about the time element.
I have to admit, if I didn't know this was fan-controlled football where people were calling the plays, not the coaches or the quarterbacks... I wouldn't have known the difference because it was that seamless. It was very surprisingly seamless. But anyway, they have now begun the preparations for their second season, and the second season started off with a $40 million investment by a few different brands, Animoco Brands and Delphi Digital. Both are venture capital firms that specialize in cryptocurrency. So we're seeing crypto invading not only professional sports, but also sports like fan-controlled football. They're going from 4 teams to 8 teams.
Well, it's the wave of the future.
And all 4 teams are crypto-branded teams.
Okay.
They're run by these crypto agencies. Second season is going to begin April 16th. Like I said, 8 teams led by cryptocurrency groups. One of the groups is led by Steve Aoki.
Wow, he made the news a lot this week.
Yeah,
he became brand ambassador for the World Poker Tour.
Yes,
as well.
So he's everywhere. Also, the crypto groups Bored Ape Yacht Club and Gutter Cat Gang,
with great names,
are going to be controlling. There are 3 of the 4 teams there of the new teams. So I don't know what the 4th one is going to be called or be run by, but they're going to start April 16th. 8 teams. And fans will be able to get a chance to buy an NFC branded non-fungible token.
Ah, okay.
Can't have an exit now without an NFT involved. That will allow them to draft the teams, call the plays, make other decisions for the team that they purchased the NFT for. They're going to be dropping 8,888 NFTs in the next month here.
Now, will these be like the collectible NFTs that may go up in value kind of thing, or are these kind of functional just for this thing? And
I think it'll depend on how well fan-controlled football does after this year. I mean, if it's around for 20 years,
but definitely hold on to
the first NFTs.
You certainly hold on to them, yeah.
But they're all going to be franchise-related, so you're going to be able to purchase NFTs as a fan of the team, but you're also going to be, I guess, technically be part of the front office too.
Oh, okay.
Because you're going to have players, you're going to draft players, choose plays. There's going to be other perks. They haven't announced where they're going to be doing this year's event. I know that last year they did it in Texas. Right now they're talking about Atlanta that would accommodate 2,500 fans, but again, they will not disclose it just yet. And they also changed their broadcasting deal, too.
Okay. I was going to ask you, where can I watch this?
They are now going to be broadcasting in the United States on the NBC LX cable channel.
I've seen that. I don't know what it is, but I've seen that. Yeah.
Peacock.
Okay, I got that.
And Twitch.
Twitch, of course, because it seems like anything cryptocurrency, NFTs, anything like this is on Twitch.
And on an international level.
And I've yet to get on Twitch. Yeah.
They are going to be broadcast in 200 other countries and territories through DAZN.
Oh, okay.
So they have expanded their distribution and broadcast rights tremendously within 1 year to the second year. And I think with this NFT, that's also going to be a way to raise money to keep the league liquid. And it may be something where some of those spring football leagues, like the USFL, maybe they want to start looking at something like this because it's an additional revenue stream that maintains the league's integrity in terms of financial well-being.
Yeah.
I've
been seeing promos for the USFL.
Well, hopefully.
I guess it's coming soon.
We'll see if they get into the NFT realm, too. I know they've got all...
They have to. Everyone else has. They have to.
Well, like we talked about in an earlier show, they have all their trademarks referencing gaming and betting.
Yeah.
So they're involved in all those aspects. I can't see them not being involved.
They're on Fox, right?
In NFT. They're owned by Fox.
Well, it must be Fox Bet then, I guess. It's going to be all over the place.
Again, it depends on what else is going to be airing.
Yeah,
so if it's just Fox, it'll be Fox Bet and whatever else Fox Bet owns.
Exit 4.
And last but not least, we have the Super Bowl coming up. And also, we just passed the end of the year for 2021. So what normally happens is the report of ad spend for both radio and TV for sportsbooks.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And we'll start with the radio first, then go to the TV.
Well, it's got to be huge because living in the area we live in, which is New Jersey, you see 10 of them an hour.
Yeah.
You hear them on the radio, then you go for a drive and you see billboards of them. So, they got to be crazy.
Well, I was amazed at the amount that they've spent here. As reported by InsiderRadio.com, America's sportsbooks spent over $30 million on radio ads in the first 3 quarters of the year. Mm-hmm. That's compared to $10 million, or almost $11 million, the first 9 months, the first 3 quarters of last year, 2020. So 3 times as much ad spend in terms of radio.
Well, listen to the commercials on this show. You'll hear them.
Oh, yeah. No, you'll hear them everywhere.
Our hands aren't clean in this one.
I've never said we had clean hands. Well, I have just been reporting on the numbers. Also, you got to figure this is only the first 3 quarters. The last quarter of the year is going to be affected by not only the launch of the NFL season, but also December was the beginning of a lot of the sports betting stuff.
Sure.
In New York. We had a little touch with Florida in terms of sports betting, but that stopped.
Yeah.
You got to figure it's going to be a huge fourth quarter number, especially if some of these other books have the wherewithal to spend.
Well, let me tell you something. New York started advertising their mobile sports books in December.
That's where the ad spend came in.
Well, because, look, it was all, I think it was Caesars and DraftKings.
FanDuel had a couple.
They were all coming to New York soon. So that was all in December, even before they launched. So, they spent a lot in the anticipation of them going live.
Well, going over to the TV side, for the first 3 quarters of 2020, 2 years ago, not last year, Sportsbook spent $182.8 million on TV ads. Mm-hmm. This past year, 2021, the first 3 quarters, they spent over $329 million. Again, 3 times as much.
Tons of TV commercials. But the one thing I also see is they're sponsoring TV shows. I know in Philadelphia they have TV shows, sports books. I know in New York, my goodness, there's like MSG has shows. They have what's the other one? SNY has shows.
Has their own. Yep.
I mean, it's just these half-hour infomercials kind of things.
Well, that's all part and parcel of the advertising spend.
Sure. Hey, good for them.
That's what's figured into these numbers.
Hey, I'm having a ball doing it.
And according to a couple other research firms, they're all agreeing that the entire sports betting category will be doing over $11 billion in revenue this for 2025. By that time, that's how big the mature the market's going to be. $11 billion in revenue.
Well, we'll also have more states, too.
We may have all 50 states by that time. You never know.
Who knows? What year, 2020? I don't know about all 50 states.
Well,
some are really resistant.
Yeah,
some are really resistant.
There are things out there like Utah and Georgia seems to be really resistant for some reason. Maybe Alabama too.
Well, Georgia will probably get it before Massachusetts. So
and Maine. Now that Maine lost their key supporter up there.
So I don't know about all 50 states in 2025, but a lot more.
And I'm going to end it with the last little note for the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay.
DraftKings, it's reported that DraftKings is the only sports betting agency that will promote its product during the Super Bowl.
Do you think that'll change, though?
I mean,
we got a couple more weeks before people jump on. I mean, is it all booked up?
Well, there's only a certain number of spots available because of the NFL guidelines.
Yeah, the NFL said there's only a certain amount of commercials they'll allow for sports books.
I think there's 6.
Okay.
Pre-game, mid-game, and 1 each quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So DraftKings spent $6.5 million for a 30-second ad for this year's Super Bowl. That's compared to the 2 15-second ads they bought in last year's Super Bowl, which they were about maybe $1.5 million, $2 million cheaper last year.
I wonder what's more effective: 1 30-second commercial or 2 15-second commercials split up during the game. You know,
depends on how memorable the spot is. If you don't have a memorable 15-second spot, no one's going to do anything.
You know what?
If you have a memorable 15-second spot, people will still be talking about it.
It probably determines how good the game is, too. I mean, if it's a blowout going into halftime, who's going to really care what's going on in the second half?
We got to remember, a lot of people watch the Super Bowl just for the ad if they're not football fans. So we'll see what happens this year with the Super Bowl. But, again, the ad spend has been incredible, and it just seems to be going even more crazy, especially now that New York launched mobile sports betting here in 2022.
And today's trip down the Turnpike was brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
And as always, you can get in touch with Turnpike Sports by calling or texting us at 609-512-5910. That's 609-512-5910. At Turnpike Sports is the show's handle on Facebook and Twitter. At Turnpike Sports Radio is our handle on Instagram. And as always, our email address is info@turnpikesportsradio.com. And don't forget, you can listen to the show via Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, radio.com mobile app, as well as Stitcher and YouTube. You can also watch us on your smart TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. Head on over to turnpikesports.net. You'll be able to watch our video channel there.
Stick around. We got a Beatin the House segment coming up. We have our NFL picks. We have a book report segment. But right after this, I'm talking with Casey Clark, Senior Vice President of Strategic Communications of the American Gaming Association. He's going to tell us how 2021 was for the gambling industry in this country and what we can expect for the year 2022. So stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
Attention! Here is something big banks don't want you to know about your IRA or 401k. You can store your retirement savings where you can actually see, touch, and hold it in your hands. With a Paradigm Gold or Silver IRA, you can transfer a portion of your savings to physical gold and silver coin and store them where you can see them. The stock market is close to its all-time high, and your retirement might be at risk again. But you can trust Paradigm Gold Group to help.
Call 800-417-3932. 800-417-3932.
Paradigm Gold Group is a gold IRA leader, rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau, where gold and silver has been in the family business for over 40 years. Call for your free guide to Paradigm's Gold IRA. Protect your retirement savings today with Paradigm.
Call 800-417-3932. 800-417-3932.
With some of the best promotions and offers in the sports betting market, PointsBet simply stands out. PointsBet is the only U.S. online bookmaker to offer points betting, where every yard, every point, every goal, even every play matters. Same-game parlays, good karma payouts, early payouts, and exclusive game day promotions and guarantees for all sports. PointsBet offers more bet types than any other bookmaker in the world, offering a unique set of markets that aren't available anywhere else. And now PointsBet is offering one of the best sign-up offers in the sports betting market today. New customers signing up with code BET21 receive 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Get up to $500 back if your first fixed odds bet loses, and up to $1,500 if your first points betting bet loses. That's code BET21 for 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000 at PointsBet. PointsBet, it pays to be fast. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Attention Medicare recipients and anyone turning 65. Medicare has approved new benefits not included with original Medicare and older Medicare Advantage plans. You may not be getting all of the benefits you're entitled to, including in-home aids, telephone appointments with your doctors, home-delivered meals and prescriptions. These benefits may be available and it's a free call to enroll. The new plans may also offer free eyeglasses, free hearing aids, free wellness visits, and gym memberships. Call the Medicare benefits line now. It's easy. Call 800-217-1797. 800-217-1797. Find out if you're eligible for new benefits like meal and prescription delivery, in-home aids, and telemedicine. Some plans may have a $0 monthly premium or zero copays for big out-of-pocket savings. Not all Medicare Advantage plans are alike. The new plans have more benefits for many people. Call 800-217-1797. 800-217-1797. 800-217-1797.
Welcome back to Turnpike Sports. 2021 was an incredibly important year in the gambling industry. This was the year when the industry began emerging from the pandemic restrictions, which sparked an incredible recovery in the gambling world. A great source of guidance and information for the industry is the American Gaming Association. And to help us make sense of what occurred in 2021 and what we can expect in the coming year, we have Casey Clark, Senior Vice President of Strategic Communications of the American Gaming Association, on the line. Casey, thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Dave. It's great to be with you.
Oh, it's great to have you talk about these numbers. I was telling you off air, boy, what an amazing year 2021 was. You know, when you talk to people in the gambling industry, 2021 was supposed to be the recovery year. But really, not only did the gambling industry recover, but it broke records. I know for the first time in history, the U.S. had a $50 billion year. But overall for the industry, what was 2021 like in terms of revenue?
Well, I think it's important to take one step back and look at where we were at the end of 2020, where, we were still reeling from the devastating closures across the entire industry, across the whole country. People were a little uncertain going into 21 what that might look like. And so you're right. We had an absolutely outstanding year in 2021, record-breaking across the board, over $50 billion in gaming revenue. But I think some of the context around in January and February of 21, we were still dealing with capacity restrictions and some closures and some things. So considering where we've come in such a short amount of time, really over 10 months of a full gaming year, pretty remarkable turnaround.
So when we look at these numbers, what are we seeing when we look at the individual states? Was it across the board, all the states did well, or did the big gambling states like Nevada, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, did they bring up the national revenue figure with their numbers?
I think that's what makes this a little bit more impressive than just on its face. 50 billion is a huge number, obviously, but I think if you look at how evenly the states recovered, it's pretty remarkable. We've got every state, 10 out of the 26 states have already surpassed full gaming revenue records through November. We don't have all the December numbers in yet. And so if you look at, we outpaced a full year over the course of 11 months. And again, that doesn't even consider the capacity restrictions and other things that hindered growth in the first 2 months of the year. But then, of course, the destination markets and some of the larger markets like Nevada, 9 straight months of billion-dollar gaming revenues. New Jersey passed $1 billion in sports betting, and has had subsequent sports betting or billion-dollar months for sports throughout the last quarter of 21. And Pennsylvania broke gaming records. So, I think big markets continued to perform very well, but so did a lot of the other states.
Now, as you said, certainly in 2020, casinos saw a lot of closures because of the pandemic. And in 2021, the casinos had a lot less restrictions on them. What do these revenue numbers reflect? I mean, is it the fact that people are going back to the casinos, or are the numbers a reflection of really how much the gambling industry has expanded in 2021?
It's a great question. And I think it's probably a little bit of all of the above. I think part of what this is reflective of is the continued mainstreaming of gaming in America, where, it used to be a destination marketing or destination entertainment play in Las Vegas or Atlantic City or the Gulf Coast maybe. But now you have the gaming, some sort of gaming in 44 states. And so there's a lot of, it's spread out and a lot more people have access to it closer to home. But the real results in 2021, which were remarkable by any measure, include, pent-up demand, people who were, like me and you probably cooped up in our house wanting to get out and have some fun, and part of that might have been going to a great destination like Las Vegas, but a lot of that started in regional markets and places you could drive to. So, there were limited entertainment options, and I think we did a really good job as an industry of putting health and safety of our employees and customers first, which I think gave people a lot of confidence in coming back. So, we also did things like innovate on how we could bring the experience to a younger crowd. I think you look at mobility and mobile sports wagering, or even an expansion of iGaming, things that brought the gaming experience where people wanted to have it, also contributed to that.
For a lot of people, for a very long time, when we say a casino was a success, we look at the metrics of the revenues from the slots and the table games. Has the slots and table game revenue bounced back to pre-pandemic numbers in 2021, or are we still waiting for a bounce back with them?
They're even better. So I think you're looking at records across slot and table game revenue, which still makes up the vast majority of gaming revenue, right? It still represents somewhere around 85% of total gaming revenue comes from traditional gaming like that. I think it's sexy to talk a lot about sports betting and iGaming, but traditional gaming still makes up the vast majority of revenue. And so you've got record numbers on slot GGR and table game GGR from January to November, up 10% on slots from 2019 and up still on table games. So really significant growth on both of those that helped fuel the recovery.
Here on this show and as our other occupation as gaming attorneys, we talk to a lot of people in the gambling industry in Nevada, and they all said that the Gaming Control Board really expects to break a record for annual casino winnings after the 2021 numbers are calculated. And that number goes back from the record set in 2007. Now, I know Nevada is a special place when it comes to gambling, but is Nevada a good indication to look at for the gambling industry in the U.S. as a whole, or is Nevada something special? We shouldn't really equate Nevada with other markets.
Well, as a representative of the national organization, I have to love all my children the same way. Right. But look, Nevada, of course, is a special place.
We're all special, aren't we?
Of US gaming in, that's right.
All markets.
But I think Nevada is the center of the U.S. gaming experience, and it's our home. And so, I think it's important for the success of the industry broadly that Nevada continues to do well. It was one of the hardest hit states by the pandemic, and certainly the labor shortages continue to drag on what's available and what our members are able to serve, to open, and how they're able to serve consumers. But certainly demand has been huge. And 9 straight months over $1 billion is nothing to scoff at. So, but I think the thing that is important to note too about Nevada, and it's not just Nevada, but Nevada is a good example, is gaming revenue is just one of the indicators of how the industry is doing and how it's able to serve its community. And so, it'll be important for us to recover, for our continued recovery, for international travel to come back, for meetings and conventions to come back, to really round that out and attract people back to the workforce and help bolster the industry and the community as well.
Well, speaking as a person who lives in another special state and another big gambling market, and that's New Jersey, and what has really sustained New Jersey during the last couple of years has been online casinos and online poker. In terms of iGaming in this country, what was 2021 like for that sector of the industry?
It served a really important role, in kind of the end of 2020 and 2021 to kind of help give people access to that kind of entertainment that would want it. It's seen really impressive growth across the country. It's only 7 states, so it's not as widely available as sports betting is at this point, but generated significant amount of revenues, and I think the revenue numbers in those 7 states is on par as sports betting with its 30 plus jurisdictions. So certainly a real boon to the industry and to operators who were having a hard time during the pandemic.
Do you expect expansion of iGaming in the country in the coming year? I mean, will more states have online casinos? Will more states allow online poker? And if it is expanding, where do you think that expansion will take place?
Your audience is well versed in this, but I think what's interesting about our industry is that what's right for one market isn't always right for for another. Sure. And so it is a state by state system. And so if you look where 2021 was, 9 different states considered legalizing iGaming, but only one of them actually passed it, in Connecticut. And so it really speaks to what might be the right fit for a particular constituency at a particular time. There's 5 states already considering legislation this year, and it's still early. So obviously I think we'd probably see some more activity there. And so I do think we'll see some expansion of iGaming this year. It just won't happen as quickly as what we've seen with sports.
Well, you just mentioned the big story for 2021 and 2020, and that's the expansion of sports betting. I mean, it seems like every month there was a new state allowing sports betting. There is a new sports book popping up. In terms of the numbers, what was the sports betting effect on the gambling industry in this country?
Well, we've always talked about sports betting as an opportunity to get Americans into the oversight of the regulated market. Americans have been betting on sports for a really long time, and all that the invalidation of PASPA did was enable states to start to benefit from it and really enable consumers to benefit from the protections that only exist in those markets. So last year, 44 million more American adults gained access to legal sports betting in their home market. 7 new states legalized sports betting. 11 states launched. So those were states that would have passed it in 2020, but launched last year. And so, more people than ever now have access to the protections of the legal market, and that's a really good thing. So, revenue up, a couple 100% year over year. Handle up almost the same. And tax revenue being generated last year over $600 million. So the real benefit to consumers from the protection and to the marketplace is real.
Well, as I said, here in New Jersey, I mean, the online sports betting industry is just absolutely amazing. And I want to ask you, every time I log on to an online sports book in New Jersey, it has an online casino link to them. Whenever I go to a brick-and-mortar casino, whether it be Atlantic City or in Pennsylvania, where I go to a lot of casinos there, they all have sports books. Is sports betting the engine that is driving this recovery for the entire gambling industry?
Well, I think it gets to something we talked about a little bit earlier, that sports betting has contributed to kind of the mainstreaming of the casino gaming industry in the U.S. We used to be an industry that was people turn their nose up to, but I think that as people see what actually happens when we open a property in your community and the contributions we make to the economy or the support we provide to small businesses or the other things that we do, I think sports betting, is just another example of that. But look, sports betting and mobile sports betting, which has gotten a lot of attention, is certainly popular in 2021, but also, we can't overlook the role that brick and mortar that has. It's still the driver and generates the vast majority of revenue. So, our hope is as an innovative industry is that we continue to provide for customers with meet customers where they are and provide a form of entertainment that makes sense for them and that goes to all aspects of what we're trying to do. It's not just about enabling sports bettors to have access to the legal market, but in some places it might be iGaming. In some places it's things like bringing payment choice to the casino floor.
Yeah.
You pay with your credit card when you check into the hotel and you buy your drinks at the bar with a credit card, and then you go to the gaming floor and it's all cash. And so, I think there's a lot of things that happen with the modernization of our industry, and conveniently for us, it's something we've always been really good at is innovating to meet customers, to meet customer demand and be ahead of it, really.
Now, you mentioned mobile sports betting, and one of the biggest sports betting stories in this brand new year was the launch of mobile sports betting in New York. It's such a big market. What do you think this launch means for the entire sports betting industry in this country?
Well, I mean, it's the elephant in the room, right?
Yeah,
we have to talk about it. It's the
Sure.
biggest growth of the legal market since PASPA. 15 million New Yorkers accessing this. I mean, it's gigantic, and that was, we saw major returns early in their first weekend, and the really great technology from GeoComply that shows how much interest is happening across the market is really significant.
It's incredible, yeah.
And signups are huge, and so that was only with just over half of the operators getting active, and so I think we'll continue to see that grow. And I think that as we look at how do we get this right, we've got to figure out creating a competitive marketplace for operators to thrive and to really compete effectively with the illegal market that don't have to face things like high tax rates or investments in responsible gaming or all the things that have made the industry successful to date. Are things that only happen in the legal market. And so we want to make sure that every operator that's operating legally and the licensed operators have at least a level playing field to what we're up against with the illegal market.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the high tax rate. I know before the launch, we've heard from a lot of sportsbook operators that were going to operate at that time in New York. We're really worried about the high tax rate of 51%. Do you think this will continue to be a big issue for New York operators, or hey, you know what? It's New York. It's a big population. It's the number one media market in the country. Is that just the cost of doing business in New York? And do you think sportsbook operators will live with it going forward?
Well, I don't. I mean, I think that there's still room, and you've already heard that from the legislature, that there could be room once this is in practice to reevaluate that to make this a better and more viable option for operators in the state who are giving New Yorkers access to a product they clearly want. And so I think that there's always opportunities to create a better framework to enable operators to thrive. And I think the challenge with a tax rate pegged that high, obviously the highest in the country, is that it will limit what operators can do on the bonus side or on the how we entice people to abandon their offshore book and come into the legal market. And so we should all be working towards the same goal of getting rid of the illegal marketplace, whether those are traditional corner bookies or offshore websites, and we have to give legal and regulated and licensed operators a level playing field.
Now, Ohio is the next state that is very close to starting sports betting, and Louisiana is also on the verge of starting their mobile sports betting market. When we look forward into the new year, what are some of the states that we should look out for? What do you expect will be the new states coming into the sports betting market in the new year?
Yeah, I'll tell you, as a native Ohioan, I would have taken the under on when they would have legalized. But predicting who goes when in this market has been is a hard bet to make. So look, I think Ohio coming online will be big. They're clearly a well-established and well-run gaming state. There's things that need to be worked out there. So I think you'll see Ohio being big. Maryland launching mobile will be significant. I think you'll see Nebraska coming online for retail, and there's considerations for Louisiana mobile. So, there's a lot of things that are kind of that were either passed last year but will get active or kind of on the precipice. There are states like Arkansas, Mississippi, North Carolina, some states that are thinking about expanding what is already legal in those markets. And then you see other markets that are, going to make some moves this year. I think Massachusetts is an interesting one to keep an eye on. I think Kansas, Georgia continues to flirt with it. Missouri is another strong gaming state that hasn't quite gotten there yet. But there's several bills already been floated in that state this year. So, we'll see a lot of activity like we've already seen, but we're at 33 states plus the District of Columbia that have legalized this. And so, there's just a lot of big bogeys hanging out there. Certainly California is one people like to talk about. There could be up to 4 initiatives on the ballot this year in the fall in California. So, a lot still to be determined there. Texas, their legislature is not in this year at all. So I don't think we'll see any movement in Texas. And maybe being a legislator in Texas is a good gig if you can get it. But, I think that, this is, it will continue to evolve, and we'll continue to see, I think, changes in structure as some states have, maybe some states that were brick and mortar or retail only, considering mobility and other things like that.
Now, the numbers in 2021 were great, but what does that indicate for the year 2022? Do you think that this growth in the gambling industry will continue at the same pace that it did in 2021?
If you'd have asked me in 2020 if we'd have seen this level of record in 2021, I probably would have lost that bet too. But, it's been remarkable what we saw in 2021, the rebound, and I think the appetite for consumers to engage has been significant. And certainly the AGA and industry leaders are bullish about continued growth here. We've done some research work of CEOs from our member companies, and they're expecting better or at least sustained growth into 2022, and a pretty small percentage I think it's not going to continue. So, I don't think this pace of record growth could continue forever, but I do feel strongly that we're going to continue to see some growth, and all of that's dependent on the things we've already talked about. Regulatory flexibility, a continued focus on responsibility and responsible gaming, and our ongoing effort to stay about the illegal market. That's not just sports betting focused. That's gray market machines that are popping up, and other things that we need help from our friends in the federal government and law enforcement to crack down on. So, I think that the goal here for continued growth, as we talked a little bit about earlier, is to continue to wrap our arms around the pandemic and hopefully open international travel to bring people back and get meetings and conventions to be much more significant, and so that we can get everybody back to work and everything reopened and active and available for everybody who wants it.
You mentioned betting responsibly. It's such a big issue in the gambling industry, and the American Gaming Association has been really great in promoting responsible betting and responsible gambling. And we always talk about it on this show, but I want to remind people of the AGA's Have a Game Plan, Bet Responsibly campaign. Can you remind people what that is and who's really involved with that campaign?
Yeah, we really appreciate all your work on that effort too. I mean, it's fundamental to who the gaming industry has been for a long time, and it's really enabled our growth over a long period of time that we've been focused on it. We spend hundreds of millions of dollars a year training our employees, educating consumers, and funding problem gambling resources. But what was important to us as sports betting continued to grow was, how do we make sure that our new partners in this business really understand and appreciate and engage in that level of responsibility too? So we work really closely with leagues and teams and media companies and others across the entire sports betting ecosystem to educate consumers about what this really is. Our research early on indicated that everyone doesn't know what's legal and where. They thought the Supreme Court ruling just meant that they could it flipped a switch and all of a sudden they could bet. And so we're really focused on making sure that sports fans and consumers of all stripes understand kind of what this opportunity is, where it isn't, how they can bet the right way, things like limit setting on time and budget, betting with your friends and continuing to treat this as a form of entertainment and nothing more. And playing importantly with legal, trusted operators. And so we put together a bunch of resources. They're available at haveagameplan.org that talk to all of those things. We now have over 20 partners. Everybody from we've got the traditional operators like BetMGM and DraftKings and FanDuel to Madison Square Garden and NASCAR and the NHL and PGA Tour and the Jets and Rangers and we just announced our partnership with Penn National and Barstool last week, and there's a lot more coming. So I think the more people we get involved and focused on this, the more effective we could be, and certainly we've seen a lot of receptivity to that.
What role does the media have when it comes to responsible gambling? I live in New Jersey. Maybe I'm just in a weird spot of the country, but for television and radio commercials, I get them from New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania, and it's really nonstop gambling ads. I go out for a drive. I see the billboards on the Turnpike, and it's absolutely incredible. And I'm not excluding myself from this because when we go to a break, that's me reading those ads for the sportsbook. So I'm just curious, what role should the media have in promoting responsible gambling?
Well, you called New Jersey weird, not me.
Okay, I'll take the heat for that one.
I live in another market. I live in another market that people could describe with some colorful language in D.C. And I see a lot of these ads too. I'm getting Virginia content, I'm getting D.C. content, and West Virginia content, and now soon I'm sure Maryland will be trickling in too. So I think it is a lot in terms of what we're seeing on advertising and marketing, but I think there's important things to note about. One, this is a new category, and so I think people are seeing it for the first time, and it's a little bit different. Two, I don't think you're seeing anything that is, if you compare it nationally to where things like alcohol advertising or fast food or insurance or other categories of advertising, I don't think it's out of line. But I also think it's important to remember that advertising is a really strong tool to bring people out of the illegal market and into the legal one. And so these are things that are being done to acquire customers, and that activity is helping to dry up the illegal market. And that's really important. But I think everyone has a role to play in this business. And, the media is not free of responsibility in that capacity too. We, at the AGA set, not only do we have to have a game plan campaign that we just talked about, but we created this responsible marketing code for sports wagering that all of the operators that are members of our association adhere to. It's now codified in gaming regulation in Arizona. We think we'll see more of that. I think we'll see media companies start to adopt this as they think through kind of what standards should be in place, and it does things like make sure we're not targeting underage audiences, that we're placing content in the right venues, that we're branding things appropriately and avoiding things that shouldn't be aligned with sports betting activations or other things like that. So I think the media can do a lot of things and a lot of good in terms of bringing attention to the code, bringing attention to the resources that are available, not just certainly problem gambling resources for those who might need them, but also educational resources for a casual sports fan who might now be seeing these things for the first time and trying to understand what it might be. And one of the things that we talk about with the press and spend a lot of our time doing at the AGA is calling reporters and talking to them about why they're citing illegal odds. So part of, and obviously I don't think this is something you're not doing that, but I think if we get content all the time that are people who are citing an illegal operator, and certainly there's no shortage of legal options that they could choose from. And I think we have a role to play to, one, inform the media about that, but two, hope the media will do their part and stop giving free marketing and advertising to these offshore operators.
Now, as I said in the beginning of this interview, the American Gaming Association is just an incredible asset, and it is such an important part of the gambling industry in this country. What are some of the things we can expect from the AGA in the coming year?
Well, I really appreciate you saying that. And, certainly we enjoy working with you and other people who understand the business, because it really helps drive the right kind of conversation about gaming in this country. Our goal is to continue the recovery for the industry, to create a business and policy environment where our members can be successful. So we're going to continue to focus on responsibility in sports betting. We're going to continue to shine a spotlight on the illegal market and hope that we can continue to make progress there. We're going to be focused on things like ESG issues and diversity and inclusion issues across the industry, where we have a really strong story to tell. We need to do a better job of telling people about that. And then we'll continue our focus on creating good environment, good policy environments, and good relationships with influencers, whether it's Capitol Hill or in state capitals who are affecting the industry. So, it sounds a little bit like business as usual, but that business as usual is a pretty hefty agenda. And so we're ready for the challenge and excited for the opportunity, and certainly our hope is to continue to build on the great year we had last year.
Casey, we're running out of time, but can you give out your website or a social media address for the American Gaming Association so people can go there and check it out and follow everything that the AGA is doing?
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have anybody reach out to us. If they have questions. You can get more information at AmericanGaming.org. We have more information on our sports betting public service campaign at haveagameplan.org, or you can see us on Twitter at American Gaming. So please check us out. We have new data that comes out all the time that I think is really interesting and informational for people who are interested in the business. So check us out.
Casey Clark, Senior Vice President of Strategic Communications of the American Gaming Association, thank you so much for coming on and giving us a report on the state of the gambling industry in this country. The guidance and information the AGA provides is crucial for a strong gaming industry, so thank you so much for coming on and telling us what's going on in the gambling world.
Had a great time. Thanks so much for having me.
Stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Auto Accident Help Desk is a marketing agency connecting callers with attorneys. Providers pay a fee for advertising services.
I love getting my kids ready and driving them to school.
But a careless driver can change your life in an instant, and insurance companies want to settle on the cheap. Auto Accident Help Desk connects victims with powerful lawyers. They fight for you.
I called Auto Accident Help Desk and got help for my pain and suffering.
Don't let an insurance company take advantage of you. Our attorneys fight and beat big insurance every day.
Call 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766.
If you've been injured in an automobile accident in the last 6 months, you owe it to yourself to make this free call with no obligation. We're available 24/7 to help you get the money you deserve for your pain and suffering. Auto Accident Help Desk helps accident victims like you every day.
Call 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited.
They do not give up until you pay.
They put a lien on my house.
How about you? Do you owe back taxes? Call Tax Solutions now and get some help. For a limited time, the IRS offers a tax forgiveness program called the Fresh Start Initiative. Our team can make it easier for you to pay back taxes, avoid tax liens, and get a fresh start. Sometimes you just need a second chance.
I call Tax Solutions now, and they got the IRS off my back.
At Tax Solutions Now, our affiliates are all accredited by the Better Business Bureau and members of the National Association of Tax Professionals.
We saved our home and overcame the most powerful collection agency in the world.
Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now. Call 800-299-1132. 800-299-1132. 800-299-1132. 800-299-1132.
It's a casino. People gotta win sometime.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a giant, colorful check to deposit.
Beatin The House is brought to you by BetMGM Casino. Play your favorite casino games at BetMGM Online Casino. Slots, table games, live dealer games, everything you love about Atlantic City and Vegas, all online at BetMGM. Don't wait. Join in the fun now. Go to BetMGM Casino, create an account using our promo code Turnpike, and become a verified player. New players get $25 free when signing up, plus a first deposit bonus up to $1,000. That's promo code Turnpike, at BetMGM.com for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus $25 free. Grab a lion's share of the fun at BetMGM.com. Must be 21 years or older to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And welcome to another edition of Beatin the House, where we talk about the casino wins, the slot machine wins, the online casino wins, bad beat jackpots, bingo, keno, lottery. You name it, we'll talk about it. If it's a big win, we'll hit it in this segment.
Have we had keno in a long time?
We had a couple keno, but not in the last 2-3 weeks. Maybe maybe a month. But we've had keno in the past.
Okay.
Right now we're going to start off in Florida. We've actually had several weeks worth of jackpots announced in Florida. The last maybe 3 or 4 episodes of this, we've actually had a lot of Florida jackpots here, and we're going to be in the Seminole Casino Hotel Immokalee, Florida.
Immokalee. Well, I got to tell you, that looks really, you gave me the production notes, and boy, that word really looks odd when it's spelled out. You ever see your name spelled out? That's what the feeling I'm getting. You ever see Weishuttle spelled out? It's a weird name. So it was, Immokalee. It's an interesting thing to see it spelled out.
I never even gave it a second thought, but thank you for putting that one into my head.
Immokalee.
Well, according to the Seminole Casino Hotel Immokalee, a lucky Floridian started the new year off with a massive jackpot win of more than $847,000.
Oh.
They hit the jackpot, and it was a Seminole Wild Card member. That's their loyalty member.
That's their loyalty card thing?
Yes.
Okay.
They hit the jackpot playing the 88 Fortunes slot machine.
I played that. I played that a couple weeks ago.
You did?
I did.
thought you did Dancing Drums.
No, I did 88 Fortunes. So, too,
How
on another thing.
How is that different?
It doesn't have drums.
Okay.
It might have drums, but I didn't get to them.
I just realized how dumb a question that was.
Yeah. No,
anyway.
but I think it's from the same company.
Well, it seems to pay out just like the other ones.
Yeah.
So maybe it is. But again, this was just a quick little press release. Really nothing more than that much information from the casino in Immokalee, Florida. Mm-hmm. Also, they threw out this number. In 2021, the Seminole Casino Hotel paid out more than $200 million in jackpots.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had one for the Seminole one from Tampa, which had something like $1.2 billion or something like that in terms of jackpots in the year. It was kind of a really high number compared to what this is, but both Seminole casinos seem to churn out jackpots.
By the way, I was spending my time taking a look at 88 Fortunes. Yes, I did play it. So I just wanted to confirm it. Just wanted to make sure, for the sake of being accurate.
Is that the one with the boy and the? Is that the one with the boy and the girl?
Yeah, the boy and the girl.
Okay, now I know what the game we're talking about.
88 Fortunes. Yeah, I did play it.
Well, speaking of another game that pays out a lot, IGT every month comes out with a summary of the jackpots for certain games that they have produced, and they're on the casino floors or on the online casinos. We have the numbers for the jackpots churned out by the IGT Wheel of Fortune games in December.
Boy, that game pays out a lot, too. But how many versions of Wheel of Fortunes are there?
As a matter of fact, I believe there are over 60, 70 different versions of it, if you count the brick and mortar and the online. And again, the game's been around for 25 years.
Sure.
So they're going to have every so often an update to it or a change in the features. I think we talked about one that had a giant wheel on top of it. The Wheel of Fortune wheel on top of the entire cabinet that stretched over all three players.
Oh, yeah. I mean, certainly, they're one of those. When I say big slot machines, I mean the ones that cover the entire wall.
Well, remember also when we went to...
Or the ones that have a seat built into them.
Remember when we went to the SBC Gaming North America conference? That's where IGT unveiled the new linked Wheel of Fortune games.
Okay.
That was the entire state they linked together.
All right.
For Wheel of Fortune. But in December, according to IGT, the Wheel of Fortune slot machines awarded 3 life-changing jackpots. On December 1st, Wheel of Fortune slots player won $1.195 million playing the Wheel of Fortune Gold Spin Triple Gold game at Golden Nugget, Las Vegas.
Wow.
So much gold in that statement.
All right.
Gold Spin Triple Gold at Golden Nugget, Las Vegas.
All right.
On December 3rd, A Wheel of Fortune slots player won $2.917 million playing the Wheel of Fortune Triple Red Hot Sevens game at Planet Hollywood, Las Vegas.
I need a list of all these different versions of Wheel of Fortune.
Do you notice they're all in Las Vegas so far?
Yeah.
On December 3rd, another December 3rd one, a Wheel of Fortune slots player won $1.022 million playing Wheel of Fortune Double Times Pay 3 times, 4 times, 5 times game at the Venetian, Las Vegas.
Okay, that's the actual name, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times
Wheel
game?
of Fortune Double Times Pay 3 times, 4 times, I could say 3x, 4x, 5x if that makes it better.
All right.
But that was the name of the game, $1.022 million. According to IGT, Wheel of Fortune slots have minted over 1,100 millionaires and awarded over $3.3 billion in jackpots since its launch in 1996.
1996, really? Wow.
So it's been around a while. Like I said,
absolutely.
That leads to a lot of iterations of the different games.
It's all over the online casinos. Wheel of Fortune. It's all over the place.
It's not just.
We don't have like 50 million versions of it.
But some of them have 3 or 4 different versions.
Yeah,
too,
some do. Yeah, some casinos do. You look around.
Well, you brought up online casinos. We are going online for this next one. We are going to Twin Spires Online Casino in Pennsylvania.
Didn't we talk about Twin Spires a couple weeks ago? It might have been last week.
We have actually talked about Twin Spires for both New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
Okay, so which one are we talking about this time?
This is Pennsylvania.
All right.
Pennsylvanian Twin Spires casino player Timothy W. is celebrating a huge $88,900 win on Mercy of the Gods slot machine.
I have never heard of Mercy of the Gods slot machine. What is that?
Well, you would think, according to what the Twin Spires put out, well, first of all, before we get to the description of the game.
Okay, all right.
He bet $5, Timothy.
Okay, good for him.
And a screen filled with bonus symbols to trigger the progressive jackpot.
Wow, okay.
Now, going back to what Mercy of the Gods is.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
If supposedly it is being confused with ancient Egyptian mythology, and it's not. It's basically you're following an archaeologist uncovering a pyramid that has nothing to do with the gods. It's just you're doing buried treasure. It's a treasure hunt.
Let me ask you something. Can I get that description if I just played the slot machine, or did you look at a description given by the company?
Description given by the company,
okay,
and also by the online casino.
So let me ask you something. If I was to sit down, I just saw Mercy of the Gods, and I never saw it before, I've never played it before, I sat down, would I get that story from playing the slot? I don't think so.
I don't know. It's one of those things where, you can assume.
I hope it does. Some of these things are really getting technical, and with the graphics and things like that, you probably can follow the story. But I'm just interested to see if I could actually follow the story, having know nothing about it, sit down at the slot machine and actually follow the story that they want to portray in this machine.
I'll be honest with you, and a totally honest answer, once I start playing, I don't care about the story.
Let me tell you something. All I want to know is this guy put in $5 and he got over $88,000.
Well, he triggered the progressive.
That's a good story.
Your
story for Mercy of Gods.
The screen has to fill with the bonus symbols.
All right.
Okay, we're going over the Atlantic Ocean to Europe. Here we have the Grosvenor Casino Sunderland.
Okay.
We have a bad beat jackpot, and it was actually, when I first read this article, I didn't know it was a bad beat the way it was written. I don't know if that's a factor of the article writer or whatever this was, but let's see. Property developer still can't believe his luck after winning over £114,000 on a national poker game on the day of his late father's birthday.
So he was playing poker in tribute for his dad?
Yes.
Which is a nice thing. Hey, I'm glad he won then.
He was playing at the Grosvenor Casino Sunderland on Lamberton Street. They went really specific with that description. He called his mom when he was playing and said he was playing in the local poker room at Grosvenor, and he was playing in a tournament to celebrate his dad's birthday, who had passed away recently.
You know what? This is a good story. I'm glad he won.
His mom gave him some good luck words.
Good.
And he played in the National Bad Beat Jackpot, which is a UK-wide cash poker game.
So this incorporated the entire country?
Yes.
Okay.
And he welcomed in the new year with a $114,000 bad beat jackpot, which is in the United States.
It's $114,000. 1,000 pounds.
Sorry, it's $155,000, over $155,000
wow.
U.S. dollars. I should say.
Wow, that's great.
He hit 4 of a kind on the last card, only to be beaten by a straight flush.
Okay.
The Grosvenor Casino team confirmed that he had won the Bad Beat Jackpot. The National Bad Beat Jackpot, according to the promotional team here, is a nationwide promotion from Grosvenor Casinos that can be won by players taking part in cash games. 4 aces is the hand that is chosen for the first week. And should a player get that hand but be beaten by a better hand, the jackpot is hit. Wow. So he drew 4 aces.
Wow. Okay, good for him.
That's a great memorial win right there for his father, late father.
That must be, speaking of a Bad Beat Jackpot, that must be you go through the range of emotion. You got 4 aces, this is great, and then you place them on the table, and guess what? You lose, and you're down in the dumps, and then you find out you win the Bad Beat Jackpot. It's like, what a roller coaster. And I'm glad he won when he was playing in honor for his dad, and that's a great story.
Well, we're going to continue with our journey through Jackpot Land here, and we're going to go back over into America, going back to Pennsylvania.
Well, it's 2 Pennsylvania stories this week, huh?
This is the Pennsylvania Lottery.
All right.
Mike Luciano admitted that he is addicted to winning jackpots after claiming his 4th top prize. Yes, 4th top prize from the Pennsylvania State Lottery and scratch cards since 1999.
Wow.
His total winnings from the Pennsylvania Lottery, $4.6 million.
I'd be happy just to win 1.
He won his first million. Boy, I can't believe I just said that phrase. He won his first million in 1999.
Okay.
He won $4.6 million.
No, that is
no.
total.
I'm sorry. Hang on. I'm getting these lines here. He won his first $100,000 in 1999. Won $500,000 from the Pennsylvania Lottery last year. Scooped up another $3 million back in 2016.
Oh wow!
Again, this is another horribly written news article here that I'm looking at here, taking these notes from. But again, he won $4.6 million total, 4 top prizes. It's a combination of scratch-offs and draws.
Someone should do like the probability of that. Doing 1 jackpot, the probability is astronomical. Winning 4 in a lifetime, that's incredible.
Well, probably I'm not going to win one of those.
No, probably not.
But that's it for this week's Beatin the House segment. Again, keep those press releases coming in, info@turnpikesportsradio.com, and we will keep talking about the slots, the lottery, the Keno, the bingo, all the different jackpots that are out there. Again, keep them coming in, and we'll keep reporting on them.
Our NFL picks are next, so stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
Free stuff is awesome, but free stuff that will spice up your bedroom is even better. Just go to adamandeve.com and select almost any one item for 50% off, and then we'll load on the free stuff. Just enter this very exclusive code, BABE16 at checkout, and you'll get 10 tantalizing free gifts, including a sexy item for him, a special toy for her, and a third item you'll both enjoy. And 6 extra special bonus items that are sure to rev your engine, pique your curiosity, and even blow you away. Plus, free shipping! Always sent in discreet packaging. Go to adamandeve.com now. Get 50% off plus the 10 free gifts when you enter the exclusive offer code BABE16. That's BABE16, because without it, no free stuff. That's BABE16 at adamandeve.com.
Is your bathroom looking old and worn out? Want to update it, but you don't know where to start? Then let BCI Bath & Shower show you how to turn that old bath into an aisle of beauty and functionality. Our residential bathroom solutions provide the best value on the market, and our customer service is second to none. Our cost-effective BCI Bath & Shower family of products has what you need.
Remodeling our bathroom was a big decision for us.
They didn't make a mess out of our house at all. And at the end of the day, we had a beautiful new bathroom. And it was a great experience the whole way through.
We have the best monthly payment programs in the industry, with payments as low as $68 per month or no interest, no payments for 18 months. That's right. Get the bathroom of your dreams now and pay for it in 2021. Call 1-800-308-8291 for a free no-obligation price quote. That's 1-800-308-8291. When you want quality bathroom products at a great price, it's got to be BCI Bath and Shower. That's 1-800-308-8291.
This week's Turnpike Sports Pro Pick segment is brought to you by BetMGM Online Sportsbook. Get ready to turn big plays into paydays. New customers, start with a risk-free bet up to $1,000. Simply sign up with promo code Turnpike, make a deposit, and place your first wager. If the bet loses, you'll receive the amount of your wager back in free bets. That's a risk-free bet up to $1,000 with your first deposit at BetMGM Online Sportsbook when using our code Turnpike when you register. Bet with confidence and go all in on all the action with the king of sportsbooks, BetMGM. Must be at least 21 years or old to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. New customers only. Problem gambler. Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And welcome to this week's Conference Championships pick segment. It was, again, we said at the top of the show, a great weekend of football. Probably the best football I've seen for an entire weekend in a long time. Every game was great. I have to admit, I do like the fact that both Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are not in the conference championships, because I'm really, after the season about Rodgers, I'm tired of hearing about him. Let him go away and figure out what he wants to do next. Brady, again, he had so many problems with that team towards the end there, between the injuries and losing his receivers and Antonio Brown doing that weird thing
and by the way,
Jet game.
He got popped in the face with a helmet. And he wrongly got. I always say, maybe Tom Brady gets a little preferential treatment by the officials, but I think the officials hosed him on that call. Number one, they didn't call the helmet to his face, and he was bleeding, and he said something about it. I'm sure it wasn't a very kind thing he said to the referee, because it drew a flag. So
he didn't.
Very interesting moment in that game.
He did not just say something; he got in the guy's face. Again, it's one of those things where Brady is one of those competitors where, he got angry, and
rightly so.
It may have been the first time I've actually seen him angry on the field.
Well, rightly so.
I've seen him angry on the sidelines, but never in the field.
Yeah,
which
I think he was right to say something, because he said something and he was still bleeding from the mouth where the helmet hit him in the face.
Yeah, so I don't blame him.
I can't believe I'm defending Tom Brady.
No.
I'm just calling it the way I saw it.
I have, the only time I've ever disliked Brady is when he was with the Patriots, and when he got away from the Patriots.
You're a Jets fan, so yeah.
When he got away from the Patriots, you recognize him for what he is.
Sure.
Once you get away from the stigma of the Patriots, as the asterisk laden group there, you like Tom Brady. And I like what he's doing outside the field, too, off the field now, and we'll see exactly what happens.
Yeah, I saw his, I think I saw his cryptocurrency commercial during
the
during one of the
stuff.
games. It was during his game?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Christ, you got crypto.com with Matt Damon doing commercials during the games, and you have FTX with Brady. I'm losing track of the crypto companies now doing all these advertising. But, it's one of those things where good games. And, like I said at the top also, I lost everything over the weekend. I went 0-3 last week. You went 2-1.
2-1, yeah.
For the playoffs, you're 4-2, and I am 1-5.
Okay.
I spent all season long doing well. The last 2 weeks I hit a cold streak, and it's continued into the playoffs. I think in the last two weeks in the playoffs, I've gone 1-11.
I haven't even
over the last 4 weeks of football.
I haven't even kept
so
track.
People don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. But anyway, season to date 27-32-1 is me. 32-25-3 is your record. Okay. So you are just pulling away from me completely, and
all right.
I have lost this season.
Well, I don't think we're going to be too different on these next 2 weeks of football, because there's not a lot of games left.
3 games left.
3 games left.
All right. Well, go ahead. You go first.
I'll go first. Okay. My first game is the San Francisco 49ers versus the Los Angeles Rams, who are 3.5-point favorites with a total of 46.5 points. I have been very impressed with the San Francisco 49ers over the past couple of weeks. Over the last 4 games, they have been 4-0 against the spread and 5-1 against the spread against teams with winning records. And listen to this thing. And it really seems like the 49ers, and especially Jimmy Garoppolo, I think they have the Rams number because I was shocked when I heard this stat. Jimmy G is 6-0 against the Rams. And that's enough for me to go with the 49ers to at least cover this one. So I'm going with the 49ers.
Well, I went with this game too, and I did the exact same thing. I went with the 49ers. Here's a couple additional stats. The Niners are 5-1 against the spread against NFC rivals.
Okay.
They're also 5-1, 6-0 straight up against NFC West rivals as well.
Okay.
Against the Rams themselves, they're 5-0 in the last 5 meetings against the Rams. So. 5-1 against the spread in the last 6 games against the Rams. I didn't like what happened at the end of that Rams game. That worried me a little bit. And I like Stafford. I love Stafford as a quarterback.
The Rams were trying to do everything in their power to give that game away to the Buccaneers, but they hit a long one with Cooper Kupp, and hey. They got lucky.
Well, the majority of games played between the Niners and the Rams end in a field goal difference. And I've noticed it's just they play them tough. And I just don't see this any differently. It's going to come down to a field goal.
I hope. The one stat I don't like about that game is that we picked the same one. So,
bite me.
Okay. Do I do the next one? Or
go ahead.
All right. Cincinnati Bengals versus the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are 7.5-point favorites and with a total of 54.5. By the way, when we're saying, given these spreads, we're using BetMGM, and not a lot of sportsbook have these numbers because, like I said, the 49ers are 3.5 underdogs. The Kansas City Chiefs and a lot of books are only 7-point favorites. When you get the 7.5, you get that hook, which is a really great thing to have. But talking about this game, I just love the way the Cincinnati Bengals have been playing over these last couple of weeks. Joe Burrow was sacked 9 times, and they still found a way to beat the Tennessee Titans. And granted, a lot of that had to do with the really poor play of the Tennessee Titans quarterback, where they have to figure out what they're doing with Tannehill next year. Yeah, he's getting a lot of money. But,
he's the majority of their payroll.
Wow, but I think even more had to do with how the Bengals offense made those plays in that game. So I usually, let me tell you something, you know how I bet totals and things like that. I usually don't do totals of over like 52 or 53. This one is 54.5. And, usually that's a bit too high for me. But the last time these two teams played, the Bengals won 34-31, which, if I do my math, that's a lot more than 54.5 points. Again, this is another one that's going to be decided in the fourth quarter with both teams scoring a lot of points. And let me tell you something. With the 7.5 spread, I might even throw a bet down on the Bengals to cover the 7.5 points. But this time, I'm putting some money down on the total. So for this show, I'm taking the over in this one.
Well, I did this game as well, obviously. And I did the same thing. I did the over of the total. What was interesting is when I looked at these games this morning, we're taping these on the Monday after, the total was 53.5.
Oh, okay. No, I had 54. Wait, let me tell you something. I'm looking at it right now.
It was 53.5 this morning.
I'm on New Jersey's BetMGM. It is 54.5.
It was 53.5 this morning.
You got a better total.
Well, it's...
go with that one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't care.
I'll stick with my 54.5.
Okay. All right. Just so people know, I did it in the morning. You did in the afternoon.
All right, yep.
It was I have over 53.5. Given what happened just last night with the divisional round with Kansas City, not only did they score a lot, but they allowed a lot of points, too. And they lost Tyrann Mathieu. He's in concussion protocols. He's probably not going to be available for the conference championship game.
I was thinking he probably would be.
They're saying he's not going to be available.
Really?
Yeah.
They're saying that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That could change. But again, they have a very thin secondary anyway. And the way Jamar Chase is, the way even Joe Mixon out of the backfield catching passes, I love the receiving core of the Cincinnati Bengals. They are just as talented as the Kansas City offensive set there that they have. And I just think I don't know if the pass rush for the Bengals is going to be able to get to Mahomes, because he's getting that ball out very quickly.
Yeah,
that's absolutely what I noticed. The defense for the Bills could not get to him. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to be a factor in this game as well. Plus, also, I don't know what the weather's going to be like either in Arrowhead for that game. So that's going to play a lot into this as well. But I'm going to take a chance and go with the over 53.5 that I got that morning.
Okay. Well, what I'm doing right now is I'm locking in my bets. So what I just said, I'm doing. So
let's recap. We both did the 49ers plus 3.5, and we both went with the over in the Bengals-Kansas City Chiefs game. You had a total of 54.5.
Yep.
I had a total of 53.5. So we'll see. I don't see that's much of a difference with these two offenses. So we'll see what happens. Picks will be up after the show publishes. Good luck, everybody. Head on over to TurnpikeSportsRadio.com. Click on the blog button. You'll see the picks there. And also we'll put them up on Turnpike Sports, Turnpike Bets, also Turnpike Sports Radio on Instagram, and Turnpike Sports on Facebook as well.
The book report is next, so stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
Attention! Here is something big banks don't want you to know about your IRA or 401k. You can store your retirement savings where you can actually see, touch, and hold it in your hands. With a Paradigm Gold or Silver IRA, you can transfer a portion of your savings to physical gold and silver coin and store them where you can see them. The stock market is close to its all-time high, and your retirement might be at risk again. But you can trust Paradigm Gold Group to help.
Call 800-417-3932. 800-417-3932.
Paradigm Gold Group is a gold IRA leader, rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau, where gold and silver has been in the family business for over 40 years. Call for your free guide to Paradigm's Gold IRA. Protect your retirement savings today with Paradigm.
Call 800-417-3932. 800-417-3932.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sportsbook. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E. Make your first wager of $20 or more and you'll get $100 in free bets. That's $100 in free bets when your first wager on Borgata Sports is $20 or more. Get into the action with BorgataSports.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And welcome to this week's Turnpike Sports Book Report, where we go through some of the state and national sports betting reports. We talk about the latest deals and also legislative updates, as well as even some of the launches that have happened around the country. And this week we're going to be talking about some more New York numbers being released. We also have a couple state records to discuss.
State records, huh?
We have a record-setting Major League Soccer sports betting deal to discuss.
Okay.
We have PointsBet breaking new ground, and that's their wording for it. And actually, after reading about it, it is. I think a lot of people know what I'm talking about. And then we've got a bunch of deals, legislative updates, as well as a couple launches to hit. But let's start off with some of those New York numbers again.
Well, the first weekend was great. I mean, some of those numbers that GeoComply let loose with were amazing.
Well, GeoComply has come up with some additional numbers.
Good.
These are for the second weekend.
All right.
Of the New York mobile sports betting era. According to GeoComply, 17.9 million geolocation transactions, as compared to the first weekend's 17.2 million.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
2 weekends, we've seen a slight uptick. 700,000 transactions, I guess you can say, is a slight uptick. It's showing that the industry right off the bat, I don't know. I'm looking at these numbers. I don't know. Because you now went from 4 to 5 with only a slight increase.
Well, let's be honest. There's football playoffs right now. It's constant. I was up in Boston, and Massachusetts doesn't even have sports betting, and they're doing a sports betting segment on their TV and radio. So everyone's transfixed with the NFL playoffs, all transfixed with betting. It's still a new thing in New York. And you know what? I hope the numbers keep going up, but we'll see over the long run.
I really would have thought with the introduction of BetMGM, by the time this airs the Tuesday of the following week, we may have a sixth one launch. I don't know. They're rolling them out whenever they're ready to launch in New York. But we went from 4 to 5 between the 2 weekends.
And we're expecting what, 9? 9 were
4
approved.
More to launch.
9 were approved. So we're still waiting for the rest to jump in.
I'm just saying, if you look at it, 700,000 transaction increase. I don't know if that's a major jump or whatever you want to call it.
Well, I think there will be a jump when these others jump in, when the sports books who haven't launched yet jump in, because there's a thought in the industry that in order to catch up, these new books that, they're going to be launching, I guess, within the next couple of weeks, they're going to be offering promos and bonuses that are going to be great just to try and catch up to the ones that are already in the New York mobile market. So it should be interesting to see the numbers after all 9 are going full bore in New York.
Well, also according to GeoComply, of the 1.2 million accounts set up since the mobile wagering began, and that was on January 8th, 770,000 of that 1.2 million are brand new to regulated online sports betting. They're brand new customers. That's 87% of the 1.2 million that have signed up for the New York mobile sports betting are brand new customers to sports betting.
Okay, so these weren't bettors from New Jersey, right?
No, these were all from New York. Well, you know what? They could be from. We don't know where they're coming into New York to do that, because there were some good bonuses.
What I meant to say were these weren't people from New Jersey or Connecticut that had existing accounts. No. If I had a FanDuel in New Jersey and I went over and signed up for a FanDuel in New York, I wouldn't be counted in that 764,000. Okay.
And according to GeoComply, this was an interesting number. 9.3% of New York bettors crossed the line and went into Jersey to bet on sports.
Still, huh?
It's interesting how they can track that, more so than anything, that they know 9% of the... I guess it's 9% of the 1.2 million accounts crossed over to New Jersey. Yeah. Maybe there's some better numbers.
Yeah, I mean, look, when we say go over to New Jersey, they crossed a bridge.
Or they were on the bridge.
Or they were on the bridge, or they, or you know what? They went home from working in Manhattan. They went home to New Jersey for the night or something like that. It's when you say crossing state borders, it's, you can see New York City from New Jersey, so it's not like they're traveling hundreds of miles.
It's not like they're going from Ohio into New Jersey.
Yeah, no,
it's just over a bridge.
5 minutes on a bridge and you're in another state. So,
well, speaking of New Jersey,
all right,
GeoComply had numbers for New Jersey as well with regards to New York.
Oh, okay. So there's how New Jersey was affected by New York. That's what they're saying. Okay.
According to GeoComply, the 2 weeks prior to the January 8th launch of mobile sports betting in New York, New Jersey was averaging 12.6 million geolocation transactions.
Okay. All right.
The 2 weeks after the launch here, New Jersey is averaging 13.1 million.
Okay, New Jersey went up, huh?
So I guess, maybe overstated in terms of New York right off the bat going to take away from Jersey. I don't know. I really don't see that.
It's a complex relationship between New York and New Jersey. Look, most people who work in Manhattan commute from New Jersey or Connecticut. There are going to be crossover numbers. There's going to be, the Meadowlands, which is where the
the stadium is, and also where there's a sports book, a physical sports book. It's 12 miles from Times Square. It's very close. It's the same neighborhood.
And again, the one you're referring to just over in the Meadowlands, there's 2 books there.
Yeah, there's actually FanDuel and PointsBet. Yeah.
So I mean, there's a couple selections there that maybe some of the New Yorkers are used to dealing with some of the books that are in New Jersey. They don't have that option up in New York yet. I know they're going to be getting more, but they may want to They may have a lot of money in their accounts in New Jersey too.
Sure.
More so than they have in New York.
Sure.
You want to hear some outlandish New York numbers?
Okay. What do you mean outlandish?
The New York government the governor just put out the state budget.
Okay.
And according to the New York state budget, the expectation is the state will collect $2.59 billion in taxes between now and 2027.
Okay. Well, I can see that. What
$2.59 billion.
Well, what is that, 5 years?
5 years.
Okay. Well, you might, yeah. Well, look, New York, they're also looking at licenses for 3 New York area casinos. And they're all going to have sports books. So,
you don't know that. You don't know that.
Well, you don't kind of have that feeling. If you have a casino, you almost have to have a sports book now.
I wonder
that's the way it's done.
I wonder if if any of these new casinos they're talking about launching in the New York City metro area are going to have to be somehow grandfathered in to the operator licenses that have already been given out.
I don't know.
Or are they going to have another round of operator licenses?
All I know is New York is going full boat with casino gambling and online sports betting, and I'm very curious to see if they're going to try and incorporate online casinos or online poker. So we shall see. I love what New York's doing, and they're really, really being aggressive with regard to gambling.
I just think that maybe these projections outward to 2027, they may be a little bit higher.
Who knows? Who knows?
I don't know if it's going to plateau anytime soon, but the way the industry seems to be shaping up for the mobile betting industry in New York, at least, it looks like it's going to probably be a powerhouse.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's going to be right off the bat, probably not this month, not January, or maybe even February. You may see by March Madness, it's going to be some sort of combination of Nevada, New Jersey, New York.
Sure.
As the top 3.
Absolutely.
Let's talk a couple of records. State records, as a matter of fact. We had 2 states reporting records for one for a month and one for a quarter.
Okay.
Michigan, for the 4th month in a row, they've set a record in terms of total handle.
Talk about a gambling powerhouse. Michigan, their first year of online gambling and online casinos and online sports betting and online poker. What is it, $1.4 billion?
Yeah,
absolutely incredible.
It's an amazing market, and I think
it's a great market.
And I think that's where like a lot of the comparisons for some of these other states, like New York, is coming in. New York dwarfs Michigan in terms of population.
Sure.
But Michigan reported record handles in December for both total handle, 514.7 million, and mobile handle, 484.6 million. So you're looking at maybe about 92%, 90% of the total handle being online in Michigan already. That's kind of in line with every other state that's out there that has both mobile and retail, except for Nevada.
Well,
which has the
let's be
requirement.
honest. It's wintertime, it's cold, and no one wants to really go out and place a bet. You can do it from your couch as easy as you can, easier than driving to a brick-and-mortar casino.
That's true. And again, there's no in-person requirement to sign up for these things either in Michigan. So that's actually an added benefit there. Going down south, Mississippi.
Oh, they have a record, huh?
They reported a record quarterly handle.
All right.
$200.9 million in the 4th quarter of this past year, 2021. Now, you got to remember, Mississippi does not have mobile betting.
But
well, no, they technically do. I guess you can say that because BetMGM has their app live, but you can only use it on the casino property that they're part of.
They have mobile betting, but you have to be on the casino property, right?
You have to be in-person mobile betting. I guess you can call it that way. But you can't be sitting at home on your couch.
Which, by the way, I mean, even if I'm in Atlantic City and I'm in a sports book, guess what? I still bet on my phone.
Yeah.
I never get up and go. Basically, I'm lazy. I just sit around in the bar or something like that, and I do a bet from my phone. It's easier.
But you got to remember, Mississippi, it's only one option, BetMGM. And you still have to be at that casino.
Yep.
So
but they broke a record for a quarter, huh?
Yeah, for them.
Good.
State record.
Good.
And they're in the process of trying to pass online mobile betting, however we want to phrase it. So we'll see exactly where Mississippi goes with that legislation. You always talk about the football contests, and I want to throw out one set of numbers here because this was reported for Circa.
I'm absolutely fascinated with the football contests. We don't have them in New Jersey. I think that's kind of a Las Vegas kind of thing. And I, from listening to all throughout the entire NFL season, this has to be one of the hardest things to win, because on any given Sunday, a football team, no matter how bad their record is, can actually beat one of the top teams in the league. And it has happened this year. So for people who win these contests, I'm incredibly impressed with.
Well, Circa ran their 2 contests this year. The Circa, I think it was the Circa $1,000,003.
And one's called a Survivor?
And the Circa Survivor.
Survivor?
Yep.
Okay.
The Survivor contest awarded 5 winners a collective $7 million as a payout.
Mm-hmm.
So $7 million.
Well, one of them you have to pay like about $10,000 to join. Both of them? Okay.
And the Circa $1,000,003 delivered $4 million in prizes over the course of the season. The final winner claimed $1 million prize.
You know what? The one thing about these football contests in Vegas is Vegas has they allow proxies. They allow proxy services, which means if I'm sitting in Missouri, I can call my proxy service and they put in my bet and things like that.
Once you have set it up, you have to be in Vegas to set it up.
Yeah,
first.
You have to be in Vegas. You have to set it up. But from then, you can place bets through a proxy service. And, sometimes I've heard of horror stories where people have forgotten to put their Survivor picks in and their proxy service, reminded them and got them in for them. So, but proxy services are allowed in Las Vegas, or I guess they're allowed in all of Nevada, I guess.
Yeah, all of Nevada.
But I don't think they're allowed anywhere else.
No.
Yeah, that'd be great in New Jersey.
Everywhere else they're called strawmen, which is the legal term for doing something like that.
I don't think that's legal.
No.
But they allow proxy services in Vegas. It's something, I think the other jurisdictions should look at. I mean, especially if you want to have like contests like this or a kind of grow your sports betting industry, you might want to have proxy services.
Well, let's talk about a state that doesn't have sports betting, yet we have a sports betting deal coming out of the state.
Okay.
Texas,
okay.
Fubo Gaming announced a multi-year marketing and market access deal with the Houston Dynamo of Major League Soccer.
Okay.
They also include the Houston Dash, which is the National Women's League team as well.
It's a soccer team.
They're both soccer.
Okay.
They're both part of the same group.
Okay.
So,
all right. So when you say Major League Soccer, it has men's and women's, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a record deal in terms of the amount that they're talking about. Over the course of the deal, it's $178 million. That's the reported number. Really, no one's disclosed those figures, but the good folks at Sportico dug out some of the numbers, and they said it was worth about $178 million.
I mean, that's huge for soccer.
It's huge.
I mean, no disrespect to soccer, but it isn't one of the top tier sporting leagues in the country.
I have to admit, the way this is structured, it's very interesting. It starts out as just a sponsorship by Fubo TV.
Mm-hmm.
Once gaming is allowed or gambling is legal in Texas,
which will be a couple of years.
It becomes a Fubo gaming sponsorship.
Okay. Now, will they have the patches on the?
They'll have patches.
Okay, all right.
Basic stuff, but it's just the fact that there's no live gambling in Texas, other than a lottery. So and those private card rooms that they have. But,
which are very interesting. It's against the law for Texas card rooms to charge a rake. So I guess you're basically renting a seat for however long or whatever the rates are per hour.
Well, we're going from a state that did not have sports betting to have a sports betting deal to a broadcast that broke new ground for PointsBet.
Okay.
PointsBet announced that the company became the first U.S. sports betting provider to offer clients live in-game betting opportunities with zero suspension of the numbers.
Okay.
No one's ever been able to do this before, according to PointsBet in their press release.
Okay.
This was a test run during Saturday's NFL wildcard playoff game between the Raiders and the Bengals. They were able to have live odds, prop bets throughout the game. And you ever see when you're doing in-play betting, you hit your bet and the odds change?
Yes.
You didn't have to worry about that with this test run.
Okay.
It automatically just did it as you were going along. You ever see when your odds get suspended and you can't bet? Didn't happen here.
Okay, good.
So they were testing out new tech that allowed them to get away with having no suspensions of any data, content, odds, that sort of
So before when that happened, it was a tech issue, or it wasn't
It was a latency issue.
It wasn't a sport trader issue saying, "Oh, people are starting to bet on this. Maybe we should suspend stuff or change that."
It was a latency issue.
So it was a tech issue.
Yeah, it was a tech issue.
But more times than not, it was a tech. I can't say it was a tech issue every time, but it was a tech issue.
Yes.
Okay.
We've got a couple launches to talk about. The big one is a group called Wager, which is a social sports betting app. It's peer-to-peer.
Would they be classified as a betting exchange? Is that what they're or
They
no?
don't want to be called that.
They don't want to be called that?
No,
Okay.
they are a social peer-to-peer sports betting app.
A social, but it's real money.
Sometimes.
Okay.
It doesn't have
sometimes.
to be sometimes.
It doesn't. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Sometimes.
Yes. But yeah, they are the first one in the country to launch with a license. They got licensed by the state of Tennessee. They are the first one in the United States to do that.
Okay.
We've got Pennsylvania. PointsBet announced that they got their sports betting license, so they'll be launching in Pennsylvania soon. New Jersey Ocean Casino Resort announced that they are building a brand new permanent sports book.
I got to check this out because I always like their old sports book, or I don't call it their old sports book. I should be calling it their current sports book. But when you walk in, it's right in the center of everything. It's a big round thing, and it's great. Where is it going to be in the same area, or is this a totally different area of the casino?
It looks like it's going to be a different area because the current sports book is going to be open through the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I'm assuming by the time the Super Bowl rolls around, after the Super Bowl, they may shut that down and start doing some construction in certain areas, that sort of thing.
Well, they got March Madness coming up.
So
So
they're going to be doing windows and tellers and
okay.
kiosks.
I wonder if they're going to, do you think they'll be open by March Madness? Or
No, they're talking about fall.
Okay, all right.
I'm sorry, but they're going to start this spring and hope to have it done by the end of summer.
Okay.
If
all
not
right.
midsummer, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And this is in conjunction with their new partner, U.S. Bookmaking.
See, you know what? Now, next time I visit there, I have to go looking around for this new construction. I just go right to every time I go to you go up that big escalator in Ocean Casino, you come out, and I just make a beeline right to the sports book. So,
well, I like.
See, now I'm going to get lost.
See, I like the sports book because they got a really nice bar there too.
Oh yeah, it's great.
A couple deals to really hit upon here. We have Missouri. The 6 professional sports teams and the state's existing casino operators entered into a first-of-its-kind agreement to support legislation on legalized sports betting. No other state has had this happen before, where the sports teams and the casinos get together and sign an agreement. So, as was first-of-its-kind deal. PointsBet announced a partnership with club-related leisure and hospitality services company Troon. Making PointsBet the official and exclusive sports betting partner of Troon. I just like saying Troon. Troon is the world's largest golf management company with over 630 locations around the world, including properties located in over 45 states and 30 countries. According to the deal, PointsBet players and PointsBet VIP people will have access to special areas on courses and facilities
cool.
maintained by Troon.
Nice.
And also they have something to do with what the upcoming, and it has not been announced yet, but they mentioned it in the press release, the PointsBet Cup.
Oh, okay.
Which is going to be a golf tournament.
Great.
DraftKings did a deal with the Tulalip Tribes of Washington for retail sportsbooks at the tribe's Tulalip Resort Casino and Kilsada Creek Casino, both located 30 minutes north of Seattle. Sport Radar announced a multi-year education and bet monitoring services agreement with the Canadian Hockey League. let's see. Rush Street announced that former professional baseball manager and player Bobby Valentine will be their new brand ambassador, not only for Connecticut, but for all of baseball. Well, I think with New York there.
He was running for mayor of Stamford, Connecticut. Not Stanford, Stamford. Stamford.
Yeah, that's Southern Connecticut.
Which is very, very close to the New York border. But, he's best known as manager of the Mets, and so he should
also where he's got a couple of his restaurants, too.
Yeah, he has a sports bar. What's the name of the sports bar?
Bobby V's.
Bobby V's. Okay, that makes sense. But which the one over in Boston here that you went to? Tony C's.
Tony C's.
Is that it? Yeah.
That's not his.
No, I know that, but everything's Tony C's or Bobby V's or whatever.
Well, Bobby V also has a sports betting license.
That's great. So, good, because he's a popular figure in Connecticut, which just started sports betting, and certainly in New York, which just started mobile sports betting. So that's a good signing from them.
Two quick media deals to talk about. Gambling.com announced a partnership with the McClatchy Company. Mm-hmm. It's a news media organization. They they cover 29 markets across 14 states. They have a overall customer base of around 65 million unique visitors. They now do this in unique visitors for newspaper companies because more people go to the websites now. Mm-hmm. So we'll see Gambling.com content in like the Sacramento Bee, which is one of their big newspapers, for all the McClatchy Company news groups.
Great.
Better Collective announced a commercial partnership with the New York Post.
Great.
We're going to see Better Collective data, breakdowns of sports events, other content in the New York Post, as well as some of their other publications. And I did not know this. The Post website reaches 92 million unique users a month.
Well, I got to tell you, being from New Jersey and, traveling to New York City a lot over the years, first you saw a lot of the New York Post being read on trains. Now you don't see the New York Post a lot on trains. You see people reading the New York Post on their tablets or their phones or stuff like that.
That's why they go by unique visitors now.
Yep.
And the last deal for the week here, and before we get out of here, PlayUp announced that cryptocurrency company FTX has made a $35 million strategic investment in the company. And the percentage of equity that FTX is going to get in reciprocation of that investment will be determined at a later date. That's it for this week's book report, Turnpike Sports Book Report. Feel free to send in your press releases at info@turnpikesportsradio.com, and we'll be sure to include them in upcoming weekly reports on the sports betting industry here. So come back next week for brand new news stories.
And that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.